He's a very big African American guy. Yeah, big in a lot of areas, not just the muscles. Or that.
What's up?
And welcome to our coffee shop. I'm your host, Meet and welcome to another episode of the KopiBros show presented by the Chit Podcast Network. And for those of you that are tuning in via YouTube or any sort of podcasting platform, hi again. Thank you so much for giving us a try, for giving us a listen. We're just a Singaporean duo that want to be
masculine. Spider Man. I'm a Barbie girl. Oh no, that's wrong. Whoa.
Come on, Ken. Stop it.
I don't want to be a Ken.
I don't want to be a Ken. Yeah, speaking of the manliest of men, once again, I'm joined by my KopiBro, Mr. Brandon. Yo, Brandon, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing good.
Speaking... Can you explain to them why you're wearing this pair of sunglasses?
So, clearly, right, I can't remember when's the last time I wore sunglasses. I think it's in my beach bag somewhere. And I just can't seem to find it. And I just celebrated my son's birthday. So the only shades that is like around and I could find was happy birthday. But when you are the manliest of men, when you have masculinity oozing out of you, whatever shades you're wearing, right, you make it work.
You make it work. Yeah,
you make it work.
Like, you want to be a top G, you have to wear a happy birthday sunglasses. That's the only way, man. That's the only way.
No joke, bro.
Yeah, no joke. Can you remember, right, when we were in like secondary school, we had this like sunglasses craze, you and me? Like, we were
yes.
We can like Ray-Ban aviators.
Yes. And that was thinking what was it? It's the aviators. Yes.
Yeah, aviators.
I can't remember which movie was it from that we watched, right? Then suddenly out of nowhere we just wow, this aviator is super cool, man. This is like,
I think I know what it is like. Okay, for me, right, I think it was when I watched this Benjamin Button, right? And then there's this scene where this Brad Pitt, he's like riding on a motorcycle.
Yes.
I was like, that is a man. Like,
but yeah, it's something about wearing aviators and riding a motorcycle. But the thing is, right, for aviators, right, somehow I realized, right, that on an Asian nose bridge, right, it doesn't look that nice.
Yeah, that's not. Yes, and then I was thinking like, I need to do like Brad Pitt. You just get a pair of Ray-Ban aviators. Still dreaming. Actually, when you were saying that earlier, right, you know, that Barbie thing, do you watch Barbie or Oppenheimer?
I didn't manage to watch either of the shows. But I heard both I heard good reviews for both.
Yeah. Both are I would say different. I haven't watched Barbie yet, but I did watch some reviews for Barbie. But I think I'm gonna watch it next week. From there I will decide what's my opinion of it. But I think that if you I saw this guy, he said it best. It's like you go in, it's not a right comparison to compare both, like direct, because Oppenheimer is meant to inform, whereas Barbie is meant to entertain. So it's like you go there, the expectations be two different things. So if you want to be informed and then learn things, then maybe you can watch Oppenheimer. Yes. But if you want to go and like see our review for the KopiBros, right, you can go back to the previous episode. I'll put a like small little sticker over here or a banner over this. Speaking of top Gs, the G that made the bomb, that's a bad one. That's a bad transition.
a top G?
the real...
The real top G?
Yeah, the scariest man in the world ever, Oppenheimer. We're going to transition over to this week's episode, which is actually about masculinity. And the reason why we're going to be talking about masculinity is because there have been two sort of like big storylines that I would say one is more long-term storyline, and then one that has been come out more recently that has been the controversy of being on the extreme end of being non-masculine or being too like not in charge and stuff like that. But in a way, I just wanted to ask you, I mean, like, since we're like going to dive into this topic, the feel of masculinity in Singapore men, right? What do you feel is the like rough gauge so that we can go into this episode and sort of like understand what perspective you are coming from as a Singaporean lah?
Meaning, are we leaning more onto the Andrew Tate side, or are we leaning more onto the Adam 22 side? Is that it?
Yeah. Maybe on the spectrum of Singapore side, where do you think we are?
Honestly, I was just having this debate, chat with my friend the other day. Honestly, we are leaning so much more onto the Adam 22 side.
I agree, brother. I agree.
We are the betas. Who run the world? Girls.
Girls. Yes,
Beyonce.
Yeah, but why do you feel there is like in Singapore? Do you think there's a cultural thing or?
No, I feel it's like the woman managed to like have a lot more power. Even the clear example is in most cases, right? In marriages, right? I was just having a chat with my friend the other day, right? In most marriages, right? And you can see in the past is the girl married out to the guy side, and the girl side will very rarely see the usually I won't see as the kids or and the them much or that much.
Yeah, won't see her own family as much.
Yeah, she won't see her own family as much because she's usually with the guy side. Like weekends, she'll spend at the guy side. Maybe 1 out of like 2 weeks or 1 out of 3 weeks, she spends at her own place. But now, if you see it, right, majority of the time, right, it's always the girl side. Like even from all my friends with kids, everything, right, a lot of times, right, like they tend to lean more towards like hanging out with the females, the wife side, or staying at the wife side, or even like letting the kids like the wife side take care of the kids, or like like it's really very very different from the past lah. Yeah.
Well, to be frank, also like I think Andrew Tate only recently then is like you see this like next wave of like okay, like we have to bring masculinity back, because I think the general consensus in the Western side is that it was becoming more.
It's like it's the spectrum is just totally leaning on like towards the female side.
More understanding for women. Like then after
correct.
Then he was like, actually you still have to be a man. Then he was like bringing it back to the other side. Correct.
Sometimes the relationship, a lot of toxic relationship is because like you can tell like the girl is like too very 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 Western influence that like it's all about women's rights. Wow, like empower women, then like I have all the say, but at the same time, I don't want to work, I want a guy to take care of me. Then I'm just like, it's what are you talking about? It's like you can't be both, you get what I mean? But somehow or another, right, like there are a lot of girls in Singapore, right, somehow or another manage to pull it off that they can enjoy both.
I think we'll go in depth more as we sort of like dive into the episode, and then we take off this like ridiculous.
I can't really see. Like, at one point of time, I was just like, where?
I'm looking at my notes, right? I'm like, I really cannot see my notes. Yeah. So we're gonna dive into the episode of masculinity. Take off these glasses, and we'll be back like in just a second. All right. Now we're going to be diving into the main bulk of this episode, which is actually discussing masculinity, specifically in Singapore context lah. But for, I would say, the most two prominent stories that have been around for masculinity, number one, Andrew Tate. I think like it's a controversial person. And then number two is the other side of the spectrum, which is Adam 22 lah. Because if you've seen recently in the news, Adam 22 has been in a interesting situation, which I think we will dive into later lah, as we are going to be discussing the other end of being in a masculine scale lah, the masculinity scale. But first off, I would say that Andrew Tate is normally the poster boy for what I would say is toxic masculinity. What do you say, Brendan?
Yeah, I feel like the media just skewers it. But like I say, it's a good and bad thing for him, because like in the end he gains that traction.
Yeah. And okay, like from your perspective, I think okay, I'll just give a like overview of what his current situation is now lah. Now Andrew Tate has a unique background. He was a kickboxer, that world champion. Then after that, he went into a controversial life. After that, subsequently, he was being a host as a webcam site host, right? Do you know about this like background information where he was like a webcam?
Like he's like the manager of a few webcam girls.
Like a bit of like a pimp lah, in a way.
Yeah.
Recently, however, he's become more popular because of his take on masculinity. I'll say how to be a man and then how to earn money in business and stuff like that. He recently went to jail in Romania. And the reason why he went to jail is for alleged trafficking. but there has been no official proof, and allegations seem to be sort of how to say it tends to be from a maybe surface level. You're observing it. It seems like they're trying to silence him because he has quite a huge influence on men at the moment.
Yeah.
I would say he's the most influential person in terms of male influencer.
Male influence, yeah, that's correct.
We're not going to be talking so much about allegations because I mean, like, to be honest, I don't want to talk about it lah. I think it's
it's too controversial. It's too deep, yeah,
too dark. And then for me, it's really like if you show me proof down the line that he did it, then we'll talk about it then lah. But in the meantime, right, we're just going to be focusing specifically about his perceptions on masculinity. Brendan, I think we can start off by asking, what is the extent that you know about Andrew Tate? Or like, what is the levels of which you know, understand his views on masculinity?
No, I listen to him, especially the majority of it is on TikTok. I know on his views and everything.
Which is how he blew up lah, TikTok.
I feel like there are a lot of guys who will be able to resonate with him. You know, that they will be able to sort of like learn something from him. Because he's someone that is extremely standing on a guy's side. It's like, and for a very long, right, there wasn't anyone, right? But like honestly, that's why I say he was a very a new fresh air. Because like everybody was always talking about like women's rights, like wow, you know, like how you should always respect women. Then it's like Me Too program. Even the Me Too program, like wow, guys also get abused too. Well, it wasn't that big. It's like who want to announce that they will get abused before. So, but it's like it wasn't that. It doesn't really focus on a lot of masculinity things, and it doesn't address a lot of the problem. But for him, right, I felt like a lot of guys that they felt that they are a bit lost. It's everything so sensitive, but then it's like it's very suffocating at times, you know. And I felt like it's like when he came out, it's like wow, something like a fresh air, like a guys who can like sort of look up to. But I feel partly it's just that he sometimes takes it to an extreme, right? He says things in a very extreme point of view, so that he can gain traction as well. Yeah, he can get views because end of the day, this is his job. Right? Like end of the day, you have to know that he's a content creator. So to make content, of course, he has to say slightly more extreme. But you take this with a pinch of salt. Honestly, a lot of things make sense.
His points across, right? They are not wrong. But I think that the examples that he used are always very extreme. Yeah, correct, but then he'll phrase it in a way like, if she's stupid enough to go into a dark alley and then go and get beaten up by disturbed or like whacked by like men or whatever, then that's how to say, if she doesn't want to listen to me, that's her own fault lah. So he's like phrasing it in a way that is very vulgar.
Correct. And it will trigger like the women's rights, the people, right? Then after it becomes controversial. Yeah.
Why is it that he stood up, or why is it that he became famous? Do you think that it is a combination of, okay, yes, he's saying some things that are maybe masculine based, but it's also on top of the fact that he's rich or that he's successful and has money?
That's why. What's his room? You know, the one that you can pay to join his like
like some top G program lah.
Top G program, correct. Yeah, where you join his program, then you can be a top G in a couple of. There was, I think that he said that there was a Singapore guy who joined, then he made like about like 6 figures a month at one point of time. It's just because for content creators, right? They had to be very careful. I know usually even for us, like we always tend to be like a lot of disclaimers, like don't misunderstand this, like, you know, like although we care about guys, we want to care about girls too. But I feel like Andrew Tate is like someone that like just straight away is like all out guys. It's like, you know, yeah, of course you should love girls, but let me tell you as a guy what you should do, like without any disclaimer of like, wow, you know, like girls, if you listen to this, maybe no. So it's like when guys listen to that, right, like for people who want to listen to it, it's like wow. This is something that I like, you know, it's like totally like there's no disclaimer. It's like this is really totally for me. That like everything is like this is what I want to learn. You know, especially for guys who like struggle with this issue.
And then to be honest, right, it's very easy to absorb his content because it is viral everywhere. Like if you go to TikTok, you go to Instagram, it's like sometimes YouTube Shorts also. It's like it's just so many like views and clicks and then viewership and stuff like that. And then also like when he goes on podcasts, I think he's so well spoken to the point where it's like, let's say for instance, it's a 1.5 hour podcast, right? Which I saw he did with Patrick Bet-David, who's like a very, very well known. In that one podcast, there was at least 400 or like different clips on that episode. So it's like people just chop up the like different splices. So
Yeah, you just follow.
so throughout the whole episode, he's sort of like dumping information to you as a man that you like listen to, then you're like, actually, it's not wrong. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, so if you take it in small spurts also, you'll absorb, and then you'll think like, hey, actually, like, maybe I'm lacking in this area, or I should
correct.
approach things, from a more masculine perspective lah.
No, and sometimes when I feel like, like for example, like I go on a an Andrew Tate spree, it's like, just like, you just keep clicking clip after clip after clip after clip. Yeah. And like one of the more popular clips that he had, right, was something to do with depression, and like even like I felt like, especially because like he knows that a lot of guys actually struggle with depression in this day and age, because they feel very suffocated. They feel like they have nobody to speak to, because speaking to someone about your pain is weakness. It's like in the past, no guy will go to another guy and say, hey guy, bro, I feel very sad. Very, very hard. When you grow up, it's very hard to say these kind of things. If you instead of having spare time to think about everything that you've done wrong, you just step into the gym. And it's really true. I feel like there is some truth into that. Like when you feel very stressed out, when you feel very like upset about your life, or like you feel like you're very like in the past, even when you're younger, when you felt very lousy, when you go to the gym, you start to feel better. It's like, I'm working on myself. After a while, once you look good, you feel good. Then after that, it's like an overall mindset change.
Yeah, you get more confidence. You're more like outspoken.
Yes, correct.
From your perception, do you view him as someone that's like toxic?
I feel that if you take his words, like his examples, very literally, right, it can be very toxic. And sometimes you can tell when he gives examples, right, it's like he just doing it to be damn extreme, to be to be funny, to be interesting. I feel like the one thing that he like a lot of girls don't like, especially the one extreme thing about him, is just that he doesn't stick to monogamy. You get where I am, right? He believes that like for him, he can go to multiple girls.
Yeah.
I mean, right? Yeah. But his girl only can belong to him.
Yeah, which is the main sort of thing that they sort of latch back to lah. And then he uses very extreme examples, like for instance, if she makes a OnlyFans, right, I deserve a certain cut from her OnlyFans. Yeah, because I'm allowing her as my wife to go there.
At the same time, you have to understand that he is at the level where if this is what he wants, he can get. You get what I mean?
Yeah, he's rich lah.
Yeah,
he's rich, and then now he's famous. So he's like rich and famous.
So compared to like other millionaires and billionaires who cheat on their wives and whatnot, he is someone who just tells you upfront that I'm going to have multiple partners.
I would say that overall, Andrew Tate, he's an interesting character. Do I think that he's like toxic? No, I don't think he's like that toxic lah. I think that I've seen much more extreme versions of like a toxic.
Yeah. And there are really some that like, because after the Andrew Tate came out, right, they try to be the they take it a bit further.
Extreme.
The extreme. Yeah.
Yeah, where I feel that actually he's trying to teach men how to be like good men, but just that he uses bad examples. So I mean, like a lot of times when I watch these clips, he's like telling men like, okay, you always open the door for a woman, always protect a woman, always learn how to put a woman first when it comes to her safety, prioritizing your children, and then he doesn't teach you, like for instance, he doesn't teach you how to be lazy. He teaches you how to be hardworking.
Yeah, correct. He's trying to like ask you to reach for more, like especially as a guy. Which honestly, like I feel for guys who are feeling very low, right? If you listen to him and you change your mindset and you push yourself, you listen to what he says, right? You will reach a point where you can make you can be at a higher level where you can finally, after that, think about it, whether you want to go like completely go down this road. Because after that, once you get confidence, once you get fitter, once you get more money, once you get, like that, when you are at the lowest, right, you don't have any say at all. Which is what he said before. Beggars can't be choosers. When you're at the lowest, right, you have no say, you have no right to say anything. But then when you're the top G, that's why I said. That's what he says. If you want to be a top G, you have to have that top G mindset. You have to really put in the hours. You have to put in the work. You cannot just say that you want, but then in the end you don't do anything, which is very true.
I think like a lot of females, they have already like is toxic masculine, like Andrew Tate. I'm not gonna watch these clips or this. I'm not gonna like see his points for like what he's doing for men and stuff like that. I'll just disregard it lah. But okay, like that's the extreme end of sort of being a toxic masculine person. I would say that the case study for that is that. But just want to ask you, Brendan, before we move on to what is going to be the other extreme end, right? What is your view of what's your definition of masculinity?
For a male to be able to take charge and to be able to lead his family, because especially we're both Christians, we know that as a guy, you're the head of the household. As a father, you're the head of household. Like in the end, like all the decisions comes down to, like, most of the decisions, you're in the end the main decision maker. You know, like if you follow the Bible, it's like a lot of girls are attracted to guys who are ambitious, who are very decisive. A lot of guys is very anything, 随便. You ask, go around the table, you ask, where I eat, anything, anything, everybody's anything.
Both of us are like that. As in, like, we go out eat, it's like you choose lah, anything like.
You choose anything. Yeah, but
sometimes honestly, right, a lot of time if I say anything, right, I legit is like I anything can eat. Like I'm not picky lah. Yeah, correct. For that reason.
And I feel like the reason why we say anything, right, is because we aren't the picky one. It's because when I say anything, and she says anything, right, then suddenly she says, it's very different. Because I say Italian, no lah, not. Then that's not anything. Yeah, Japanese. Oh, I just had that for lunch. So when I say, how about
anything is anything within my choices. So it's like,
but she doesn't tell you the choices, so you have to read it out. Then after she tell you, then you slowly cancel. Then of course to us, right, it's just like save time. My anything is literally anything. Why not you tell me what is your spectrum of anything? Then you tell me, then you cancel off. Yeah. Like I said, but if you're talking about those men, right, like literally the very masculinity men, right, there's no asking questions, and I feel like at the end of the day, I have this discussion with my wife as well. It's like you win some, you lose some. Girls, if you want to date this kind of guy, right, you have to make sure that you are really okay with majority of the time, right? He decides. He says what means what. You know, it's like we're going to eat Japanese tonight. It's like no question asked. We are going to eat Japanese tonight. You know, they're decisive. They're ambitious. They know what they like. You know, they know what they want, and they go for it. And then at the same time, they give you that. And I feel that this is one thing that after the moment when girls in Singapore reach the age of, I think, 28, 30, the sense of security. You know, that the guy gives you that sense of security. Because as you grow up, when you're growing up, right, when you're younger and you're like, teenage years, your sense of security is usually size. That's why I feel like in the end of the day, a lot of girls go for guys who are taller than them and bigger size than them. It's because that baseline, they feel very safe and protected with someone bigger and taller than them.
I wanted to ask you, right, because I thought about this like previously also. Do you feel that Singapore, one of the reasons why that men are not so masculine is that we've seen the previous generation of our eras where the men are extremely decisive and masculine. But to be honest, because it is a Chinese society, right, cultural influence, a lot of times the females, they do suffer. So it's like...
Then you then you see your mom or like your friend's mom, like... They go through so much, and the worst part is just that the mothers they do so much, they do so much, yeah.
And then they make one small error. It's like, well, you useless, lor? Or like
yes. You know how to do things correctly, how it's just like, well, now I think about if I say this to my wife, it's because imagine saying it. You know how to wash the plates or not? Like, because last time it's like. The guy's only job is to bring back the money. Bring back the money, come home. Yeah, king. Yeah. Food is on the table. If the food is not on the table, what's going on? What is happening?
Hey, I give you money to buy food, leh.
Yeah. Why is the house in shambles? What is nonsense?
Yeah, but another thing also is that a lot of the times they in Singapore, especially Chinese society, I must say really, especially in Chinese society, right? They always blame the mother for the children's failure or like educational failure, like inability to go and learn, or like comparing it to like other children or other like maybe cousins or something like that. And then they'll just say like, why is it that you never like give him tuition, or why you never go and teach him properly or stuff like that lah? Which I feel that is like on top of that, as a child, if you're going through this situation, right, you grow up, then you witness it, and then you're like, wow, like. Yeah, my mom really suffered so much. Like, do I want my wife to go and like endure this type of suffering? So yeah, but it goes to the point where you're sort of like maybe too not masculine, or you know what I mean? Like,
correct. Like now we overcompensate. Like now we overcompensate and like, wow, I don't want to have that kind of relationship with my wife, because we get to see the end day product of like what happens. Like, and you can see a lot of the older couples, right? They literally stay together for the kids. Then once the kids grow up, they just like
split. Yeah,
split.
correct.
Yeah.
But what for you, right? What do you feel is like the main issues of being masculine? Like, do you know what I mean? Like the issues that you face when you're being masculine. Yeah.
So that's why I said, like, if you want to be masculine, right, that's where you make a choice really. Like, you want to have that. And like I said, that's why I said I feel like you can't pretend to be someone that you're not. Like, for example, like I can tell you I'm completely not really a very masculine. If on a spectrum, I'm leaning for most likely not leaning more towards the feminine side. And I won't portray myself as a very man guy. Like, tonight we're eating Japanese, or like, you better do things correctly. You know, I wouldn't say this kind of thing, because then imagine if like at my
who you are, man.
Yeah, like I watch movie then I start crying. My wife like, you literally just scolded me for being too sensitive. Like, but this person's dog died. That's the problem when you're too masculine, right? That your outlet, you have to be really very strong mentally. I feel that it really has to be you. Like, your outlet, you need to be very sure. Like, know what's your outlet. Like, for example, if you're religious, like, you let out your heart to God probably, but in other case you let it out in other ways. Because if you don't, right, then it builds up. That's why you see the case for a lot of masculinity guys is that sometimes they become a bit abusive with their words and everything, because they have no emotional outlet to like let go. Because I always have to be strong for my family. I can't cry. I can't show any moment of weakness, which it gets very taxing after a while.
I'm not an angry person. I'm really not lah. I think you also, like, you will know, like, we are quite sort of even keeled in the way that we don't easily get angry. We are quite patient people lah. Yeah, but I don't know for you, but for me, if like I'm pushed to a certain point, right, when I explode, is like I really explode until very huge lah. Then I also feel that in a way, like, if I had sort of let this outlet, because my personality is not someone that is like, I can, how to say, I like just like continue, like, tell my problems. I'm not this type of person lah. I don't like to, so I bottle. Then to the point where it's like when I explode, right, it become very bad lah. So there's a lot of times where it's like I had arguments with my family where I blew up until very huge and then like we blew up to the point where the repercussions of the blow up, right? Even to this day, I feel that it's not really resolved. It's like it happened and then they sort of like sweep it under the carpet, and then
because it's too hard to address.
If I had sort of channeled it in a way that was more not so manly, like if I could have talked to this person, like talk about it,
like a healthy outlet lah, but which it gets harder with the more masculine, like the more you bottle it up, the harder it is to share, because it's very heavy.
I would say that those are the main issues of being like too masculine lah, or like the struggles that masculine men have. Okay, now I think we sort of like going to go into the fun part, which is the other extreme end of the spectrum, where it's like sort of you're too not masculine enough lah. Like you're too. It's not really feminine. It's more
you're just there for the ride.
You have completely no say, or like you're not a leader or like a man.
No, and I feel like I know the person. You have no boundaries. You have no baselines of like what you want. You don't stand up for yourself. Like, probably it happened one time that you don't like something, but you didn't stand up for yourself. Then after that, your boundaries get further and further to the point that do whatever you want with me. You do whatever you want. I am anything lah.
I do anything you want, and then I'll just sit here and read my book. How to be happy for dummies.
How to bottle it up and sweep it under the rug professionally.
Yes. Okay, on the other side of the spectrum, right, the famous story that's like sort of coming out this past week is this Adam 22 situation with his porn star wife, which is Lena the Plug. Where I think I'll just give some background information about this story. It's the #1 trending story in the US and in the world right now. Okay, so basically Adam 22, he's a big podcaster, and his wife Lena the Plug is a porn star lah. they're quite a debaucherous couple in a way that they do a lot of things on her OnlyFans. So it's like, from what I understand, they have a podcast together on top of his own podcast stuff, right? Where they will interview like females. And then after the podcast, they'll sleep with the female as a threesome lah. He's always maintained the position is like, I can sleep with the female. So for instance, our threesomes is always like me, you, and another girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it will never be like you cannot sleep with another guy and it cannot be two guys and one girl. Like he's always like said it has to be this way lah. It was always like that until the point that they got married. After they got married, 1 month later, the big story that came out was that okay, she's finally going to sleep with like another person lah, who is this
big,
this big African American porn star. Okay. So this
BBC.
Yeah.
She straight away joined the BBC club.
BBC club. So this guy, he's Jason Love. Yeah, if I'm not wrong lah, I think he's the guy. That's his name lah. He's a very big African American guy. Yeah, big in a lot of areas, not just the muscles. Or that. So basically, she got they basically
she got blacked.
Yeah, she got blacked by this guy. And then they sort of like posted it on her OnlyFans. They've made a lot of money lah. Okay, so yeah, I think they've made like millions and millions just based on this thing. Technically, she has made millions. He makes nothing out of it. The guy. Except that he sort of like gets to promote it lah. So just basing this on this case study, what do you know about this situation? Is it like similar to this case? Beyond this, you didn't know who Adam 22 was, right?
No, I knew who Adam 22 was. Like before this, I knew who Adam 22 was because I've seen like sometimes on his podcast, sometimes on TikTok, he'll come up like this guy, like he married a porn star. Then like a lot of guys are like saying that he's living the life. He gets to sleep with whoever, like girls together with his wife. Teresa. He was like almost like someone like a bit like Andrew Tate level, like he's selling the male dream, like the male dream. Yeah. Then I didn't know. It's just that I didn't pay attention to him because like anyway I don't really follow him. I didn't know that. But after you told me that when I see it, I was just like, wow, from the male dream to a nightmare in just 1 month. Because after you told me I went to see the guy, I was just like, damn. The guy that the wife slept with is like she had to look up to him, you know.
If you go online also, like he become like a joke, like a laughing stock. Yeah,
it really is. And the thing is, the fact is just that, you know, it's just that so many things wrong about this situation. It's just that a lot of things could be handled properly.
It could have been much better lah.
Yeah. She could have chosen a different guy as well. Yeah. If not, the girl get concussed. So what will happen then?
Yes.
Cause have you ever seen like a African American guy's penis?
Not in person.
Bro, trust me, you have to see it in person.
Oh, you seen it before in person?
I seen it in person. I don't know what. I was in the onsen, and I don't know why suddenly there's like a few African American guys there. Then I was just like, and of course in onsen you don't wear a towel ma. But the thing is, when they took off their pants, right, I was just like, wow, I actually sat down and like contemplated about my life. I wore back. I wear back my underwear when my pants are sit down there. I was like, damn. Maybe I should go home. Go back to the hotel for a while. Maybe come back tomorrow. Mind blowing, you know. It was like you just like calculating your mind. Is that humanly possible? It's so funny. You just feel so awkward because you keep doing like But then after you try not to let them see, so you're just like, wow. Then you just like,
Oh my goodness.
damn. And it's really very, and it's crazy. So it's like for the fact as a guy, right, just imagining another guy touching your wife already or your girlfriend, right, it's really like crazy. It's like it makes you feel so gao wei, and it makes you feel so like what? But then you to know that you're letting another guy, right, who is so much bigger in like, especially that way. Because honestly, guys have this like weird pride ego thing about like, you know, the like, you know, like the size down there and like the everything. Yeah, so it's like because honestly, end of the day, it's like wow, like, and the fact is just that after that, right, he can still even sit on a podcast like, wow, she was in pain for 3 to 4 days, like he cannot touch there is a pain. I'm just like, what the hell are you? Wait, must you tell us?
He tries to come off like, oh, I'm being self-deprecating, or like I'm trying to be but then after a while, it's like becomes sad. It's just very pitiful.
Yeah.
Then he'll be like, oh, this is so sad. Like this guy.
Yeah. Like, why do this to yourself?
Yeah. And then like after that also, I think to how to say, link it back to this Andrew Tate, right? There was a podcast that they did together on a stream. Do you know who's Aiden Ross?
Yes. He was like the disciple of
Haji Aiden. Yeah.
Haji Aiden,
this Andrew Tate always makes fun of him lah.
He's like the disciple of Andrew Tate at one point of time. Like like he made him shave his hair.
Shave his hair. Yeah. You see, there's this video clip of them, right, that they were streaming in Dubai together playing chess. Damn funny, yeah. It was like this guy put in those text to speech type of things like $1. Yeah. Then they're saying like, Aiden, I'm a disabled person, and then I just want to thank you so much. Then after that, this then he said, oh, then Aiden was like, oh, thank you for like the kind words. Because of you, right, you have gotten me to stand up and turn off the podcast.
That's very creative, sir.
So you have gotten me to stand up and turn off the podcast. Yes, yeah. But okay, like so Aiden was the one, he hosted this stream and then brought them on together lah. Andrew Tate was saying that, like, he also said it goes both ways lah. As a man also, when you go and cheat it's like, if you go once, if you argue again, right, there's a chance in your back of your mind, right, I can go back to someone else that wants me. So I don't need to be with you. Or like, I don't technically need to stay. And then it's like, it on top of that, it burns the seed of like, do I want to work in this relationship? Or do I want to just leave and then like go and find someone else because someone else wants me lah? So I think in that context, he explained it quite well to them, and then they didn't disagree lah. So they didn't agree because philosophically, I mean, like, he's been having threesomes with other girls like I'm really lah. Yeah. Do you think that is because he had threesomes with girls, he sort of felt that he have to balance it off and pay her?
Correct. No, it's not, I don't think he felt. I just felt that like she had a very strong arguing point. You know.
Yes. It's
like, since you did it right, it will be very double standard if you don't let me do it. You know, it's like, you know, it's very easy to argue from that point on. But the thing is, he already said from the get go, you know. Yeah. So it's very different. Like, that's why I say he could have done things differently. It's just that if he didn't bring up at the start, right, that he would never allow, or like he's a kind that he okay with the sleeping girls, but he would never like it if the girl. So if he never said all that shit, right, and he just said like, we are in an open relationship, because honestly in America, in Western culture, it's very common nowadays, you know. Open
sexual openness lah. It's really like
sexual openness. Yeah. Correct. So if you say it from the start that because
we're attached emotionally, but we can be attached to other people physically.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. Like physically, we want to do whatever is whatever. Yeah. But so if you say that from the start, right, then everybody, oh, okay, like it's so, and it will be quite as in like honestly, I think there are quite a lot of like people out there in the Western society, not much in Singapore, but Western society. So it's like, it's nothing very new. But it's just because he said it so confidently, like, wow, this guy is living the the male dream. Like even his wife will do things with him. Then like sometimes bring the girls. Then after that, like, wow. Like he, and the girl like is so dedicated to him, loves him so much, and she also will never touch another guy. So like I remember after that I went to see it. I remember I watched a podcast that she also got said before that she's not interested in other guys as well. Like after being together with him, which is not true. Yeah, so of course clearly it's not true because like I said, there's so many jokes about it. It's like so big, like she was totally happy after being married for 1 month. It's just like, oh, I ain't gonna do this anymore.
Now that we sort of like discussed this Adam 22 situation, and then like prior to that we discussed this Andrew Tate situation, do you feel that Andrew Tate is teaching men how to approach masculinity in a wrong way differently from Andrew? Do you get what I mean?
So Adam is promoting a different kind of toxic masculinity.
Yeah. Something like that. Like, do you get what I mean, right? Yeah. You feel that way?
Correct. No, I really feel that way. So, and that's why I feel like when you take your masculinity too far, and it becomes too toxic, right? Where you create that kind of persona. Like that's the reason why I feel like Adam 22 wasn't that masculine from the start. If he were, right, he would never ever in a million years allow this. Like you can never imagine someone like Andrew Tate allowing this to happen to him. He would rather probably kill himself or kill everybody around him before this happens.
Yeah, because of the public perception, he will not be able to deal with like being a joke like that. Like, you mean like you get a lot of money, but you're a joke. Now you're like sort of seen like,
one of the good example of like a very like a toxic masculinity. Like Andrew Tate is of course one spectrum where if you really literally listen to everything he says and you do you take all the like his examples to the T and you just follow accordingly without listening and just like understanding the base spotlight of it. Then
without
you just
context, without context.
Without context, yeah, correct. Then you also become a different kind of toxic. You become like really a male chauvinist. Chauvinistic. Yeah. Where, like I said, then after that, this like Adam is the other spectrum where you preach about being like a top G, but then after that you're not. you just let your entire it's like the same thing as you tell everybody wow, my wife listen to me and whatever I say at home goes then it's like you tell like it's a very guy thing to do, especially in Singapore, but you should never do that because it's like then after that when your wife comes, yes dear, like then all your friends will be like what a joke. The one reason why this blew up so much, right, and like his masculinity was so like far gone, right, that like he became a joke is because like this happened right after they got married. Like you see the main key video, right, and all the videos, right, they always like highlight this happened 1 month after they got married. Yeah.
And they have a kid.
Yeah. So and they always bring that up. And the thing is, if you do this, like I said, that's why I say imagine if they did this before they got married. It wouldn't even have blown up. It would just be oh wow, Adam 22 eats his words. That's basically, it wouldn't even blow up that much. It's just like, oh, Adam 22 just eats his words. In the end, they move to an open relationship. That's all. But he wouldn't lose any pride. He just say that he just very well say that I want to be fair to my girlfriend, that if I can have sex with girls, she can have sex with guys. That's all. Then move forward. But this happened right after marriage. Nothing said. No explanation. Just bump. Go. Run free. Free Willy.
Jealous. Okay, so like you touched a bit on it about toxic masculinity. At what point do you feel that masculinity becomes toxic?
Like when it makes your loved ones like unhappy or they have to be unnatural around you.
Yeah, I think like this Jordan Peterson. You know who's Jordan Peterson?
Yes, I love him.
Yeah. I think
he's a logical.
He thinks very logically, but in also a way that is very how to say, good for men. So it's like he teaches. Yeah, I would say that he's like Andrew Tate, but not so extreme. The examples he uses like really proper case study examples.
Yeah, statistics. He's already like, let me tell you the statistics why you should do this. Yeah.
He always says that men, if you go back to centuries or whatever, right, they are always been prone to violence. So it's like we are exposed to violence, and I think that men also we are filled with testosterone. That's why we are sort of inclined to violence. That's why I think a lot of us likes to go and watch boxing or go and watch fighting and stuff like that. But that's why we think it's so cool. But it says that the number one thing for a woman that is attracted to, right, is a man that can understand that I am I can be violent in the right situation. So it's like I'm not someone that is a wussy person. Okay? Yeah. But at the same extent, right, I can be controlled as a man. So it's like you have restraint as a man. I would say that the number one issue when it becomes toxic is when you are,
you lose control. You're unable to control yourself.
Yeah. You understand the context of violence, but then you have no restraint as a man to control your violence. And I think that it's not just like physical violence. It can be sort of like emotional abuse. What is the overall balance that you think a guy should have in terms of masculinity? So that it's like a fair balance where you don't become toxic, you don't become too much of a cuck. The term is a cuck, right?
Cuck, yeah. That's a literal term. That's a literal term for what Andrew Tate went through.
Yeah, so it's like
you see your personality as well. For example, you can't be like a 100% masculine person if you are, you know that you're leaning more to the feminine side. Like I said, you have to understand the things you have to give up to be that masculine, you know. But at the same time, that's why you have to weigh like what is really truly important to you. Like for example, do you want like to be able to share moments of weakness to your wife? And like I said, that this is all like things that you have to have converse with, you know, and decide before you really get married. Because like this is really very important, because like this is to like it's a very clear way to determine your emotional outlet. But one thing to note is just that probably learn how to control yourself. Like when you notice that you're hurting your, like what we said just now, if you notice that you're hurting your loved ones, or you're making your loved one uncomfortable, or like it's getting a bit too much, like learn to like rein it in.
On that same spectrum, also for females, do you think that there's a way that they can help men to be more, either like be in the middle? Do you know what I mean? Like not to be too masculine, but also not be too like of a cuck.
I also feel like I feel the main thing is just that I feel especially in Singapore context, it's just that you have to understand for females, it's just that you have to understand that you can't have the best of both worlds, you know. If you want a very masculine guy, right, you don't complain that like, wow, this guy don't let me decide, this guy I feel very like unappreciated, because majority in some sense that's what you wanted. But if you wanted like a very passive guy, like someone who always agrees with you, always cares about what's your opinions, like ask you where you want to go, like over caring, but then after you say, wow,
and they're not decisive.
Yeah, then it's like, why can't he be more decisive? I just want him to decide, like just for once in his life, decide something and just, you know, be the decision maker. You know, then after you can't have it both ways. Then after it's like, wow, I want a guy that is decisive at the same time, like. But the thing is, you're asking a person to have like different emotions at the same time, or like different personalities at the same time. That's like, it's very tough. But I feel like at the end of the day, it's really conversations. So like communicate.
As I was saying earlier, you can train yourself to be more decisive and stuff like that, and you can also train yourself to be less of a like chauvinistic. You can approach things from a very respectful perspective.
Work hard to be who you want to be, lah. Like for example, you see Andrew Tate and you see like, take what you want from there, you know, like try to learn the good points, but you try to be as an adult, as you grow up, you know how to take the good and try to ignore the bad, you know, like learn the good parts. Don't learn everything, then you just like have to stumble and fall and like learn the hard way, where you hurt the people around you and you get hurt yourself as well. So especially, you know, decipher what like who you want to be. Like, oh, I want to be ambitious, I want to work hard, I want to be a top G, but at the same time I want to be a top G that really cares about the people around me, that really loves the people around me. But like I said, it's going to be even harder, you know. Like I said, to be a top G is really hard, but to be a top G that, you know, like at the same time to be have been in touch with your family side, it's not easy. But that's why I say it takes a lot more sacrifice and a lot more training to do. Yeah.
Overall, I think that was an interesting episode. There's a lot of debauchery. Very interesting. Yeah, but overall, I think interesting topic about masculinity. Yeah, try to approach it and be more balanced as a man. Okay, that was our masculinity episode.
Get out of here!
Oh, look at the time. The coffee shop is closing. But in the meantime, if you enjoyed the episode, please remember to give it a like, a thumbs up, and subscribe. We have episodes that drops every Monday. But at the same time, also, if you're into football, we have the Football Gaki that drops every Wednesday. And also, if you're into game show formats, we have the SG Draft podcast, a big podcast that drops every Friday. Also, if you're interested to vote for fun topics on Instagram for daily polls and stuff like that, like for instance, last week we had the movie tournaments bracket, you can head over to our Instagram. We have a weekly tournament that comes out every Monday and closes every Thursday. I'm not sure what the topic will be yet. Tournament. You can head over to there and then go and vote. We will definitely have a fun topic over there lah. In the meantime, we hope that all of you are watching this and not being toxic. But remember, a kopi a day keeps your troubles away.
Don't be a cock. Don't be an Adam. Don't do it, guys.
He got cucked so hard. He's now Adam 21. He's now Eve 22.
Eve 22. When Adam became Eve.